So I took the liberty to put the lighting up, and as you can see, uh, I taken down the painting that I had previous. I had this painting hanging on here. I took it down the day of after filming. Um, but now we have to set up for the next shoot, which will be for this Wednesday. Um, so I went ahead. Let me put this up here and move the camera slightly so you guys could have a better view of this. So what I did with this canvas, um, days back, I painted like a good amount of canvases black, and so I had this black canvas. Let me hook it up. I have this easel that I built. I got to rebuild it. It's starting to give me problems, but how you call it? So I had this black canvas, and I got a wonderful email by Jonathan. I'm gonna give credit where credit's due, and they just asked me to see more uh, tropical scenes, more Hawaiian, more seascapes, that type of stuff. And so I was there thinking, I was like, what can I do to do a nice seascape that is different but similar, but it's nice. That's where I'm getting to. And so I stayed there with a pencil and paper, just drawing and drawing. And I'm gonna put the picture up here on the screen. And so with that drawing, um, after I drew it and decided, okay, I want it this way and I want it to look like that, I went on my canvas and I got some burnt umber. Now, with burnt umber, all I did was design the clouds. What this is all in acrylics. Designed it with clouds, three different clouds, two closer, one and distance, and I divided it by three lines, four in total, because I want to know, as you guys saw in the drawing, I want to know um, exactly where I'm gonna paint certain things. Just because I'm copying doesn't mean it's not mine because I drew it, so it's my idea, just sketched out and planned out before. So I did my waterline and I did the half mark, divided it, and so forth. I put rock and all that, and I just prepared it. So now I put it on the canvas, and luckily my backdrops and everything are already on, so I don't have to worry about that. The only thing I do have to worry about is my palette. I didn't clean it when when I finished recording the other video, so now I'm stuck going to have to clean it. So let me go ahead. Since I have a tripod, I can't be really walking around with it, so I have to pause, take my phone out. But let me take this to a clean somewhere where I could clean it, and I'll turn on back the camera. Trust me, you guys aren't missing anything but me walking. So I came all the way outside where I have my washing machines. This is the only spot where I really feel comfortable doing this stuff. I don't want to mess up my dining table or stuff like that. So I just come out here to my washing machine and I start cleaning it. And I also brought my light. I have it up here. But we're gonna be cleaning it. So let me go ahead. Let me grab a palette knife because I'm gonna need one. I usually use my Bill Alexander one because that one has um the most, how should I say, like sharpness. I could take it off the easiest. So I believe it's inside. So I'm just gonna grab that real quick. Um, Again, you guys aren't missing anything but just me walking around grabbing the stuff. Again, if you guys want to see, but I don't know if everyone's okay with me showing my bedroom and stuff, so I have to make sure with the people I'm living with, is it okay with them? But we'll see. So all I do is just scrape it. Really, I try to scrape as much as I can off there. Just try, and this isn't paint that's been out here for days. This been has been out for what, like yesterday, the day before yesterday? No, yesterday. Because yesterday I filmed, edit, and try to upload. So it's literally been one day, and the paint's already like starting to dry up on me. So that's no good. But luckily, it's not completely dried. So just removing this basically. So I'm gonna do a time lapse, that way I don't bore you guys to death, and it's just quicker. So as you see, I just finished scraping the palette. Oh my god, that's that took a bit longer than expected, but it's whatever. But as you can see, there's still a stain, and when I try to film, I try to keep all the stains as least as possible. So you're probably asking, well, what are you gonna do? Here's what I'm gonna do. Um, my solution: paint thinner. Someone, I think my dad brought paint thinner. Let me move this up. My dad brought paint thinner, so I have it. So when I need it, I'm gonna put that to the side. But I need something to scrub it on, so I'm gonna take this off. So as you can see, I have a power drill with an attachment that will help me scrub my palette and just make my life easier with all that paint thinner. So I'm gonna grab it, take it to the spot where I'm working at, and we'll get started with cleaning that up. Sorry about the shaky hand, but it is what it is. So I have my power drill right here with the brush attachment, and I have my paint thinner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my paint thinner, pour a little bit out. There we go. That's a bit too much. You can see a little bit of that glare. Thanks to the pollution in the air, I'm wearing a mask, and that protects me from both the odor outside and the odor of the paint thinner. So I'm gonna switch to a time lapse and just make it easier for everyone. So this is how it looks after the first scrub. As you guys saw, um, I'm just grabbing some napkins really here, and I'm just gonna wipe it down. As you can see, it takes off some of that stain, but it's not gonna take it off first try. So we're gonna have to work it in many different times if we want to take that stain off. Just clean my area a bit. So I'm going to do a time lapse of me repeating the process until needed. Once I'm done and you see that it's not clear but clean again, I will resume the video. But before I start the time lapse, I will want to show you guys. I'm gonna change brush attachments. Now you're gonna say, well, this one's bigger, and like it sounds like it has more toughness, but that doesn't really matter too much. Um, it's just knowing which one is better for the job. So I'm just gonna switch to the smaller one. So you're gonna see the smaller one working, and yeah. So let's get started. with the time lapse. Look at that. I'm satisfied with how it turned out. So now I have to dry it up. So I'm gonna grab a napkin and just clean it up. Well, it's not a napkin, it's a blue shop towel, but I have you as a napkin. So a little bit of paint thinner splat on the paint. So I'm just trying to gently pick that up without taking too much of the paint off. I smudged. So you're gonna hear the drill for the first time. It's pretty loud, isn't it? So um we just have to basically wipe it off and just clean it. This area underneath is so wet where we have to dry it so that way the backside of our palette isn't drenched wet, because the paint thinner will slip through these spots and will just make a bigger mess. So just drying it, cleaning it up. Now, I've learned, for me, I don't really care too much if it's too clean or not. The only thing I care about is due to that light. You see that light? I do not want to see that light when filming. That's the last thing I want to see. So in order to prepare the canvas, what I do is I grab a sander and um I sand that palette. But the bad thing is, um all my sandpaper, I've used them up and they're all full with gunk, so I can't really use them. Same with the one on here. So what I what I do have, and what I'm going to have to do, is I have this sandpaper that I tried to stick on. It's 180, 150, and I'm just gonna have to hand sand it. So do it by hand. So I'm gonna do a time lapse once again. Once I'm done with that, you'll see the difference in the palette. So as you saw, I got finished sanding. I put this on too early, but it picked up all the gunk that was in there. So all that little stuff. But that's at least what I wanted. If you guys care about having a clear palette, like I have another palette over here that's more clear. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. This one is still more clear than this one. What I did with this one is I decided at one point, you know what? This palette is only going to be used for filming, and so I didn't care if it was sanded or not. So every time I'll sand it. Well, not every time, but every so often I'll sand this and make sure it has no glare. So if you guys want to do this, it's a nice way to clean up your palette and make it look matte. But if you care about that glossy, clear finish, do not sand it. It will ruin it and you're not going to be happy with me. So after, to get that sand dust off, I just spray it with water. And I'll just grab a blue shop towel, regular old shop towel. You could use a napkin. And just pick up all the dust and debris that was left behind that you saw on the sandpaper. There we are. Just trying to get everything fully clean. Now I have that. I want to see if I have a rag or something that I can dry it off with. Doesn't seem like I have one, so I'm gonna just stick with the blue shop towels. I have a lot of these. These are good when painting. They help remove quite a good amount of paint. Now I can see that it's glossy because of the water. It's not dried up completely. But if I did my job right, once the water dries up completely, it should look matte. There should be no glare. And you can already see there's less of a glare. It's just those watermarks really where you can see that glare. So just dry it up. There we go. Less of a glare. So that's pretty much it for the palette. Now, let's take this palette back to where I'm going to be filming and have everything together back. Alright, so I want to do a little announcement. If you do this, please use a high grit sandpaper. I just realized because I grabbed my palette and let me see if I can get this to focus. If you look deep in there, there's a lot of scratch marks. And when I would do it with the machine, with these sandpapers, it wouldn't damage it. But what I'm looking at right now is, if you see very carefully, that's 180 and 220. So these are softer than this one. This one is 150. So it had more tooth to it and it just left more marks. As opposed to, I'm just trying to move this carefully. As opposed to filming, let me move this. I have this wonderful tripod where I could control all this without having to worry too much. So I'm not gonna film right now because it got too late on me. It's about I believe last time I checked was 11:27, and it's been a little bit from that time. So what I'm gonna do is everything's already set up. My backdrop set up, my lighting set up, my canvas is set up nice and tight. I don't want to put in liquid clear because once I put liquid clear, it's like paint it right away so it doesn't dry up, or since it's not indoors, it might grab dirt, lint, and all that stuff that you don't want on your painting. So in order to avoid it, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna come back in the morning. We're gonna continue this video off in the morning, and right in the morning, I'm gonna put my liquid clear, and I'm gonna show you what colors I put and all that good stuff. And we'll start the video. That's where this video will cut off. And we'll show you what I do after I'm done filming. And that'll be it for this video. So I'll see you in a couple seconds. But for me, it's a couple hours. So I'm back. Sadly, I wasn't able to finish the video or start it, as you guys can see. And it's been a couple days since I started this video, but everything is still raw and all that good stuff. I went ahead, took the liberty, that same picture you guys saw on the screen, I printed it out. So that way I know what I'm going to be doing on this canvas here. That way I don't mess up anything. Every time I have the chance, I try to make the process as smooth and simple as possible rather than having to make it hard on myself by doing something else. So I have right here my container of liquid clear. Let me just wipe it off. It has a little drip, I guess. And we're gonna go ahead get started in prepping this before recording. So what was I gonna do? Oh yeah, I was gonna grab this brush, I believe. This brush is a good one. So I just beat my brush real good, and let me adjust the backdrop since I gotta adjust it so it's nice, tight fit. All I'm doing is dipping a little bit of liquid clear onto the brush. That's all I need. And all I'm gonna do, there's a little texture, but it doesn't matter. All I'm going to do is just scrub on a little bit of liquid clear on the canvas. So what I'm going to do for the sake of time and everything, I'm going to switch this video into a time-lapse form, and you guys will just see this process just quicker. So stay tuned and I'll be right back. So I got my liquid clear on. As you guys saw, I had to change brushes because in the middle of working, I realized that other brush was a bit too soft. And the thing with the uh, cheap chip brush is the bristles are a bit more tougher, have a little bit more spring, and you can really scrub on. Um, it is separating a bit. You might notice in some spots, but we'll get back to it in a sec. The main thing is right now is we have to remove with a napkin or with the cloth or something. We have to remove as much liquid clear as you can on off the canvas. So I'm gonna go ahead, switch back to the time lapse, grab a napkin, blue shop towel to be exact, and just take off as much liquid clear as I can. You guys can do whatever you guys want, really. So now the fun part begins. After having the drawing of what you want to do, you get to choose what colors you want to put if you're doing it with liquid clear. So for the bottom where I have the ocean, I decided I want to have like a little bit of lavender, but also dark blue. Um, you know what? It'd probably be better if I mixed it with the palette knife. That way I have a good pile of paint. As to mixing up, liking the color, and not having that same color. So I'm just gonna mix it here, and I'm gonna use a little bit of mountain mixture, just mixing up. So this stuff people wouldn't regularly see on my videos. I suck at speaking at times. So just mixing up to the color that I like. And yes, this is the first time you guys see me with the sweater. Um, Usually when filming, try to keep it nice with just a simple shirt, but behind the scenes, this is how I am. So I got this nice like lavender color feel. I'm satisfied with that. I could work with that. So pile that up, and let's just go straight into that color. Now let me look into the painting. Okay, so I did outline where I want my sand to start and end. So that's a good thing. So it would be like right here to around right here. And just going at it. Okay. This is an opaque color. As you can see, you can't really see much through it. If you really want to get detailed, it's a semi-transparent, I guess you can say. But for the most part, it's pretty opaque. I am gonna clean that area out. That way, um, I don't have to worry about seeing where that rock is at. Luckily, I've left my backdrops how they are, so I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I'm literally just using a chip, 2-inch. It's a cheap brush. You guys can buy it for like $1 or $2, pretty much in any art store. So you don't have to use your higher quality brushes. You can just use. I'm just moving the lighting. You can just use these chip brushes that work pretty fine. So I could still see that little mark, which is good. I want to, that's why I put it. And I'm just trying to put a thin enough layer where I could still see underneath, but it's still good enough to pick up. And you're probably wondering, it's a light color. It's not gonna look, it's not gonna have much contrast. But you'd be mistaken on that part, because when you start putting more white and all that stuff, that's gonna be brighter and that's gonna have more contrast. So you don't have to worry too much. Now, I am going to put my palette to the side. I want to remove a little bit of that top layer since it's too bright. Just like so. Just going with a little napkin. And just kind of spread that color out. All I care about is having that color in there. I'm just pulling a little bit into the sand because I know there's going to be that in-between mix where sand meets water. And I just want to have that color there to kind of fuse in there. So, there we are. So, as you see, it's good enough. Okay, so the top has liquid clear. I want it to act like liquid white. So technically, liquid white is oil and white paint. So instead of mixing up my batch right now, which I will shoot a video on how to do that, but I have to buy white paint. I'm running out. I have liquid clear on there. I'm just gonna add white on top and just hope for the best. For that, I will use this 2-inch brush because I already used up my chip brush, so I can't really use that one. If not, it'd be like a lavender white. So I want to keep it pretty much like a titanium white. So all I'm doing is just getting a little bit of white on my 2-inch brush, as you can see there. And this is an experiment I'm trying. I don't do this usually. It's an experiment. So if it doesn't work, you can't blame me. Oh, came off the easel. So I have to grab it again and put it on. It's usually pretty simple. The reason why it's coming off is because I've had it on the easel for a couple days. So that doesn't help with I'm not gonna hold my pellet. That doesn't help with the strength it needs. The thing that I like about liquid white as to liquid clear, there's when I'm filming with lighting and all that, with liquid white, there's little to no glare, and with liquid clear, there's a lot of glare. So, how I say, this is a test. With liquid white, for sure I wouldn't have been able to see what's underneath, but I could still kind of see it. So that's kind of like a good thing. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave it in the comments, or you can send me an email at ixtaraul123@gmail.com. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna put it down below because there's been times where I say that and I don't do it. I miss that clip. I don't do it and I look bad. So ixtaraul123@gmail.com. That's how it's spelled. In case for anyone wondering, trying to send me an email. So just trying to block in that color there. Just going crisscross. I'm just trying to spread the color. I picked up a little bit of that blue color. There. But how I say, it's an experiment. So if it goes wrong, you guys can't judge me for it. And if it goes right, I knew it would work. There, just sort of fan it out. That looks like liquid white. Kind of. It's all patchy. There, just kind of do that sort of thing. Now, what I've been realizing with my easel, I know you guys probably don't care, but let me actually take off the canvas. Look how easy that came off. And let me put you guys on a side profile so you guys could see this better than how you would right now. So as you guys can see, what's holding these little brackets, this is an add-on tool that I did, was this wood, but this wood is holding by a bolt. Now, it is nice to have it, but when it comes to screwing it, well, it's a bit harder than you would think. At least once your easel is worn out. For example, let me place that. And before videos, I tend to check if it's leveled. So Let me just make sure. Top's more important than the bottom. There. According to that, that's leveled, even though I don't believe it. So I'm going to put it a little bit to the side. But if I take this, where did I leave the block? Oh, here it is. First of all, look how worn out the block is. After so many uses. Oops. But these are helpful, but I have to find a way how to make these last longer, because after so many turns you can tell this has been worn out. It's just a piece of wood, a hole, and a slit where the wing nut could fit, and that way I can screw it and screw it off easier uh, rather than having to do it by hand, because screwing it by hand, oh, it's so painful. So, oops, got some on my face, I think. It's all right. There. So, usually I'll put my weight, but what happens is this boat will start to spin with the wing nut, therefore not allowing it to tighten as much. So it's not too noticeable, but you can see in person. But now I have it extra tight, so that's a good thing. I'm gonna try to move this as gentle as I can and not too shaky. I did zoom in, so that's why you might see it the way you do. Let me raise this, zoom out a bit. There, that's good. Oh, and my camera's not leveled because I have to adjust my tripod. There it goes. So that seems a bit ready. I'm just gonna clear out this rock area, and I think that's pretty much it for when it comes to setting up, lighting, cleaning up my palette and all that. I already cleaned it. My palette's ready. The last thing I'm gonna do before filming, and once I start filming I have to cut this one off because I only have one source of filming, but I'm just gonna pile up my paint. So pile it up. Just scoop it and put it on there. Now, what I do recommend when you do this, it just makes your life easier. Clean your palette, even if it's with a napkin and you feel like you're just smearing it. That looks better than how it was before. Trust me. So, clean your palette for the love of God. And I did say that was it, but I just remembered what I need is to put in some cadmium yellow on my palette for the eye of the wave and all that. So, good old oil paint. And all I'm going to do, let's set it over here at my table. I'm gonna make it an interesting one. So my camera cut off, I don't know why, but now we're back and rolling. So I'm going to lower this. There we are. And let's go ahead and just lower the camera. That's how I see my brushes and all that. Now, let me zoom in. Here we go. Don't mind the way I have my setup. That's just how I do. So, simple. Just grab the paint. The way I set up my paint is I'll grab it, squeeze out like a line, something like that. And as you see, we have that. I'll grab a palette knife, set it back down wherever I'm working with, and simply, so make sure my palette knife's clean, simply just grab and pull that paint out. That way, when I'm working, I have easier access to the paint. And you can do that with all your paint colors. There's no saying you can't do nothing. It's your palette, and if you think it's gonna help with your painting, shoot, by all means, do so. Whatever you gotta do. Doesn't matter if it's different than everyone else. You gotta do what you gotta do. And as you can see, I'm on alizarin crimson, so we're gonna go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm just spreading the paint towards the front because I'm also running out of this. These are the old school ones, the ones in the 2000s, late 90s, so on and so forth. They're 5 ounces. You can find them on eBay and stuff like that. They still work. So let me just move this stuff. The reason why I still use crimson throughout a seascape is because you're gonna need it for the browns, and in case you want to make different colors, or for the sand, stuff like that, you're gonna need to make something using the crimson. So that's basically it for the behind the scenes when it comes to setting up. Now it's time to shoot. So this video will be coming out on, I believe, Thursday. The painting will have come out on Wednesday. So there's that difference. Let me get this to back up so it's not too close. But we're gonna be doing the landscape. So now you know. Sometimes I'll have a drawing, sometimes I don't. Those marks are like watermarks or something. I don't know. But I can still see the picture fine. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If I have anything else that I do behind the scenes, I will make sure to start the camera and start rolling. So yeah, that's pretty much it.